I, 32M, never thought I would be writing something like this on Reddit. My world turned upside down last week when I discovered something that shattered my trust in two people I deeply cared about, my stepbrother Jacob, 35M, and my wife Kimberly, 29F. Even typing this makes my hands shake, but I need to get this off my chest. Jacob became my stepbrother when I was 15 and he was 18. Our parents married after both losing their previous spouses. My mom lost my dad to a heart attack, while Jacob's mom passed away from cancer. Our parents met in a grief support group and slowly fell in love. Jacob and I bonded quickly despite the age gap. We both knew what it felt like to lose a parent young, and that shared pain brought us closer. Through high school and college, Jacob was my rock. When I struggled with calculus, he tutored me for hours. When my first girlfriend cheated on me, he took me on a camping trip to help me get over it. He encouraged me to pursue my business degree even when everyone else said I should take over my dad's small hardware store. After college, I worked in real estate for a few years, learning the business from ground up. Jacob was working as a financial analyst then. 6 years ago, I decided to start my own real estate development firm. I had some savings and a solid business plan, but banks were hesitant to give such a big loan to someone young. Jacob stepped in and invested his entire inheritance from his mom. He quit his job to join me as a partner. Everyone said mixing family and business was a bad idea, but we proved them wrong. The business grew steadily and we were making good profits by year 3. I met Kimberly during our biggest project to date, a luxury apartment complex. We needed an interior designer and her company came highly recommended. Jacob actually pushed hard for hiring her firm, saying he had seen their work. Now I know why. Kimberly was different from anyone I'd dated before. Smart, ambitious, and passionate about her work. She would spend hours discussing design concepts with me, even though I barely understood half of it. She made me laugh, something I hadn't done much since Dad died. Jacob seemed thrilled about our relationship. He was always encouraging us to spend more time together, even covering for me at work so I could take Kimberly on dates. After a year of dating, I proposed. Kimberly cried and said yes immediately. Jacob threw us a lavish engagement party and gave the most touching best man speech at our wedding. The ceremony was small but perfect. Kimberly looked beautiful walking down the aisle. Jacob stood beside me grinning the whole time. I remember thinking how lucky I was to have both of them in my life. We decided to build our dream house right after the wedding. Kimberly took charge of the design while Jacob helped with contractor negotiations. They spent a lot of time working together on it, but I never suspected anything. I was busy with a new development project and trusted them completely. The house took 14 months to complete. We moved in last month and threw a big housewarming party last Saturday. Around 50 people came, family, friends, business associates, even some of our contractors. Kimberly was the perfect hostess, making sure everyone had drinks and food. Jacob helped her throughout the party while I networked with some potential clients. The party went on till late night. Everyone said it was one of the best parties they'd attended. The next morning, I woke up early to clean up while Kimberly slept in. She had drunk quite a bit the night before. While picking up glasses from the kitchen, I found her phone under some napkins. The screen lit up showing several missed calls from Jacob. There was also a text preview that said we need to talk about last night. I can't keep doing this anymore. Something about the message felt off. Kimberly and Jacob were close, but why would he need to talk to her urgently about the party? Against my better judgment, I opened their chat history. What I found made me throw up in the kitchen sink. Hundreds of messages going back 8 months. Intimate photos. Details of their meetups at hotels. Discussions about how to keep their affair hidden from me. They would meet at our office when I traveled for work. Jacob would tell the staff he was working late, and Kimberly would come by pretending to discuss design updates for ongoing projects. The messages revealed how they laughed about deceiving me. How they would hook up in my office, the same office where I spent countless late nights working to build our business. They even met the day before my birthday. Kimberly had told me she was visiting her sick aunt that day. I sat in the kitchen reading messages for an hour, feeling physically sick. Finally, Kimberly came downstairs, hungover and looking for coffee. She saw me with her phone and froze. I simply turned the screen towards her showing their messages. She fell to her knees sobbing, saying she could explain everything. I didn't want explanations. I told her to pack her things and leave. She begged me to listen, said it was just a physical thing, that she loved me not Jacob. I asked if sleeping with my brother in my office was her way of showing love. She had no answer for that. After she left, I drove to Jacob's place. He opened the door looking like he hadn't slept. Before he could speak, I punched him hard enough to knock him down. Told him I was buying him out of the business and never wanted to see his face again. He tried calling Mom to intervene, but I got there first. I showed her some of the messages. She was devastated. It's been a week now. I've barely eaten or slept. Kimberly has been calling and texting nonstop from different numbers since I blocked her main one. She sent long emails about how sorry she is and how she'll spend her life making it up to me. Jacob sent a 10-page letter apologizing and offering to sell his share at whatever price I quote. I've already contacted a divorce lawyer and started the paperwork. My accountant is working on the business buyout details. Haven't told my staff the real reason yet, just said we're separating due to irreconcilable differences. They're all shocked. Kimberly and Jacob were beloved by everyone at work. Looking back, there were probably signs I missed. The late night work meetings. The constant texting. How they always sat together at family dinners. But I trusted them blindly. Jacob was my brother, my business partner, my best friend. Kimberly was my wife, the woman I wanted to have children with. Now I don't even know if anything in my life was real. Update 1: Things have gotten significantly messier since my last post. The fallout from discovering their affair has affected more lives than I initially thought. I appreciate all the support from my previous post, it helped me stay strong through what I'm about to share. Kimberly moved in with her sister after I kicked her out. She's been on a mission to paint herself as the victim in all this. According to her sister's social media posts, which friends screenshot and sent to me, Kimberly is going through a difficult time and needs support and understanding, not judgment. She's telling everyone that I'm being cold and unreasonable by not giving her a chance to explain herself properly. Her parents have been calling me nonstop. They showed up at my office last Tuesday, causing a scene in the lobby. Her father said I was being immature by not sitting down with Kimberly to discuss things like adults. Her mother cried about how one mistake shouldn't erase 3 years of marriage. I had to remind them that sleeping with my brother repeatedly for 8 months wasn't one mistake, it was hundreds of calculated decisions to betray me. Security had to escort them out. Jacob has been trying to contact me through every possible channel. He even sent a mutual friend to my house late one night to check on me. I found out later he was hoping the friend would convince me to talk to him. The friend left when I made it clear I'd call the police if he didn't. But here's where things took an unexpected turn. Yesterday morning, one of my employees, Jenny from accounting, requested an urgent private meeting. Jenny has been with us almost since the beginning. She was our third hire and has always been reliable. She came into my office looking pale and nervous. She spent almost 10 minutes apologizing before actually telling me why she was there. Turns out she wasn't the only one who knew about Jacob and Kimberly's affair. Most of the senior staff knew. Some had known for almost a year. Jenny showed me security footage from our office cameras. Footage that Jacob had told our IT team to routinely delete every week, claiming it was to save server space. But Jenny, being in charge of accounting records, had kept backups of everything for audit purposes. The video showed Jacob and Kimberly entering my office late at night on multiple occasions. Sometimes they'd stay for hours. The timestamps matched the dates I was away on business trips. There was footage of them getting cozy in the break room during office parties when they thought no one was watching. Videos of them leaving the office together through the back entrance. What made me truly furious was learning that Jacob had actively threatened employees to keep quiet. Jenny played a recording from a staff meeting where Jacob jokingly said anyone spreading malicious rumors about the company leadership would be immediately terminated. Everyone understood the real message. Several junior employees had witnessed their inappropriate behavior but were too scared to say anything. Jacob was known for firing people over minor issues if they got on his bad side. One intern who questioned why Kimberly was in the office so late was let go the next week for poor performance. I called an emergency all-hands meeting. The tension in the conference room was palpable as I told everyone I knew everything. Several employees broke down crying, apologizing for their silence. They shared more incidents, how Jacob and Kimberly would disappear together during lunch breaks, how they would flirt openly when I wasn't around, how they had a code word system to warn each other if I showed up unexpectedly. Halfway through the meeting, Jacob burst in. Someone had texted him about it. He tried to deny threatening anyone, but then Jenny played the recording of his joke from the staff meeting. 3 other employees stood up and described specific instances where he had intimidated them into silence. He finally broke down and admitted everything. I asked security to escort him out. As they were leading him away, he kept shouting about how sorry he was and how he would make things right. The look of disgust on our employees' faces said everything. After the meeting, I had individual conversations with key staff members. Some senior managers who had actively helped cover up the affair, like deliberately keeping me occupied when Jacob and Kimberly wanted meeting time, were terminated immediately. I'm giving generous severance packages to the junior employees who were pressured into silence. They were victims too. Kimberly called me that evening, screaming about how I was destroying everyone's lives. Said I was being vindictive by firing people who had nothing to do with her and Jacob's personal choices. That's when I lost it. I told her that having an affair with my brother in my office, intimidating my employees, and making a mockery of my business was far from a personal choice. Jacob sent another email offering to sell his share of the business at a 40% discount. Said he just wants to make things right. I forwarded it to my lawyer without responding. We're preparing documentation to force a sale anyway, given his breach of fiduciary duty. My mom is struggling to handle all this. Jacob is her only child from her first marriage, and she's torn between her loyalty to him and her anger at what he did to me. She keeps trying to arrange a family meeting to work things out. I told her I understand her position, but I want nothing to do with Jacob ever again. She cried but said she respects my decision. I've thrown myself into work to cope. Started interviewing replacements for the fired employees. Our biggest project is behind schedule because of all this drama, but I'm determined not to let Jacob and Kimberly destroy everything I've built. Some days are harder than others. Yesterday I found an old family photo in my desk drawer, from the day Jacob and I opened our first office. We looked so happy, so proud. Sometimes I still can't believe the brother who helped me achieve my dreams is the same person who betrayed me so completely. Update 2. Just when I thought I had uncovered the full extent of their betrayal, more devastating revelations have come to light. Remember Jenny from accounting who showed me the security footage? She came to my office again last week, looking even more troubled than the first time. During the company's annual system audit, Jenny discovered an old email server that hadn't been properly decommissioned. While going through it to ensure no sensitive client data remained, she found years of archived emails between Jacob and Kimberly. What she discovered made everything they'd previously admitted look trivial in comparison. Their affair didn't start 8 months ago like they claimed. It didn't even start after Kimberly and I got married. They had been involved for over 6 months before Kimberly and I even met. The email showed their entire plot, how they planned everything from the beginning. Kimberly's design firm wasn't randomly recommended to us. Jacob had been dating her secretly and suggested hiring her company specifically so she could get close to me. Their emails discussed how I was too focused on work to date much, making me an ideal target. They thought my marrying Kimberly would provide the perfect cover for them to continue their relationship. There were emails from the week before my proposal where they debated whether Kimberly should say no. Jacob was jealous about the idea of her marrying me, but Kimberly convinced him it would actually make things easier for them. She wrote about how being my wife would give her legitimate reasons to be at the office, attend family functions, and travel to the same business conferences. The most sickening emails were from right before our wedding. Kimberly wrote to Jacob about how she was starting to feel guilty because I was too nice and too trusting. Jacob replied that they deserved to be happy and I was just collateral damage in their love story. They even met up the night before my wedding. Kimberly claimed she was having a final girls' night with her bridesmaids. I forwarded everything to my lawyer immediately. Then I did something I'd been avoiding. I called them both to my office separately to confront them. Kimberly arrived first. When I showed her the printed emails, she collapsed into a chair. No more lies about it being a recent mistake or a momentary weakness. She finally told the truth. She admitted she had initially agreed to Jacob's plan just for fun. She thought I seemed like a nice guy who would treat her well while she maintained her real relationship with Jacob. But then she claimed she actually fell in love with me over time, which made everything more complicated. She couldn't bring herself to end things with either of us. She kept crying about how sorry she was and how she never meant for anyone to get hurt. Jacob's reaction was different. He tried to blame Kimberly at first, saying it was all her idea. When I showed him his own emails proving otherwise, he broke down. Said he had always been jealous of me, how our parents seemed to favor me, how the business had been my idea but he had to invest his inheritance to be part of it, how even our employees respected me more despite him being older. He admitted that setting me up with Kimberly was his twisted way of finally having something I didn't know about, something he could control. When I asked him about the employee threats and cover-ups, he said he got carried away with the power of being able to silence people. My lawyer says the new evidence significantly strengthens both my divorce case and the lawsuit against Jacob for breach of fiduciary duty. We're also exploring potential criminal charges for the employee harassment, though that's more complicated. The news has spread through our entire social circle now. Most people are horrified and have cut ties with both Jacob and Kimberly. A few mutual friends tried to defend them, saying things like the heart wants what it wants and love is complicated. I've cut those people off too. Anyone who can justify this level of betrayal doesn't deserve to be in my life. Mom had a complete breakdown when I showed her the emails. She's finally stopped trying to defend Jacob or push for reconciliation. She said she doesn't recognize the son she raised. The level of calculated cruelty in his actions has shattered her image of him completely. She's started seeing a therapist to deal with everything. I've put the house on the market. Can't stand living in a place that Kimberly designed specifically as part of their deception. Looking at properties in a different city where we're planning to open a new branch office. Might move the entire headquarters there eventually. Through all this, Jenny has been an incredible support. Her integrity in bringing these things to light, despite the risks to her own job initially, shows that there are still honest people in the world. The new company structure we're building will reflect those values. Update 3. This will be my final update. A lot has happened in the past 3 months, and I feel it's time to close this chapter of my life completely. The divorce was finalized last week. Kimberly didn't contest anything. I think the evidence of her premeditated deception killed any leverage she might have had. She signed away all claims to the business and the house. Her only request was to keep the car I bought her last year, which I agreed to just to get it over with. She's moved to Arizona with her family. Her sister still posts passive-aggressive comments about me on social media, but I couldn't care less. The business buyout with Jacob was more complicated. His lawyer initially tried to argue that forcing him to sell his shares was unfair and that the evidence of his misconduct was obtained improperly. My legal team countered with the employee harassment evidence and the proof that he had used company resources to facilitate his affair. They backed down pretty quickly after that. I ended up paying Jacob fair market value for his shares, even though my lawyer said we could have pushed for a lower price given the circumstances. I wanted a clean break with no possible grounds for future litigation. The paperwork was signed last month, and Jacob's name has been removed from everything related to the business. The new branch in Chicago is doing well. I've been spending most of my time there, building a team from scratch. It's smaller than our original office but more efficient. Jenny relocated with me as the new operations manager. She deserved the promotion after everything she did to expose the truth. We've implemented strict policies about personal relationships and professional conduct. Everyone knows exactly where the boundaries are. The old house sold for a good price despite the market being down. I donated all the furniture Kimberly picked out to a women's shelter. Living in a hotel while my new place gets ready, but it's peaceful. No memories, no triggers, just neutral space. Mom is doing better with therapy. She still sees Jacob occasionally. He's her only child from her first marriage after all, but she never mentions him to me. We had dinner last week and she said she's proud of how I handled everything. She's planning to move closer to Chicago next year, saying she needs a fresh start too. Some interesting developments at the old office. Turns out 3 of our biggest clients had heard rumors about Jacob's behavior and were considering pulling their projects. After we announced his departure and the new management structure, they not only stayed but increased their investments. Our company's reputation has actually improved. Kimberly tried to reach out last month through a mutual friend. Said she started therapy and realizes now how much damage she caused. Wanted to know if we could ever be friends again. I didn't respond. Jacob sent a formal letter apologizing again and saying he's also in therapy. I had my lawyer send a cease and desist letter. I don't need their guilt or growth or whatever they're selling now. I'm not dating and don't plan to anytime soon. Some friends have tried to set me up, but I'm focused on rebuilding my life. The business is expanding, I'm making new friends in Chicago, and for the first time in months, I'm sleeping through the night. To everyone who followed my story and offered support, thank you. Your messages helped me stay strong when I was tempted to give in to their manipulations. Sometimes losing toxic people, even family, is the price of peace. I'm ready to pay that price. This will be my last post. It's time to close this Reddit chapter along with all the others. Life goes on, and mine is finally moving in the right direction.